and sit down.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Rural Report. I am your Rural 2IC, and to continue with our mini-series, or should I say the first video, depending on which order you watch this in, we are going to cover water. Now, in this mini-series, I will probably break down everything you saw on the first one that was the introductory, and we'll kind of do this in multiple parts. So today, we're going to do water. This is going to be a quick kind of a rundown of the water, and we will get more and more in-depth into each one as we break it down. But since this is a channel for the beginners of Basic Prepping 101, we're just going to do a quick kind of brief overview of the water, and we will get into each one a little bit more into detail and future content, because a lot of this is very important, and that way we can break it down and really dive deep into every single one of them and really explain them and all that. So right now, this is just going to be a quick overview, and let's go ahead and get started. All right, number one up on the list is we are going to do, and I'm going to bring my notes over here, should be somewhere right here, is going to be the filtration method. Now, the first one that most people, when they start getting into preparedness and they look for water filtration, is you're going to get the store-bought kind of man-made product. A lot of the popular ones are going to be like a mini Sawyer or a Life Straw. Those are a really good, small, usually a kind of cheaper way method to filter water. They will work in a pinch. They are not going to be suitable for things like chemical and whatnot, but they will make a lot of water drinkable. The next method that will go into this segment is going to also be filtration. Should be right here about now. And the one that you see is they do a kind of do-it-yourself. There's multiple different ways. If you kind of read into there, they do the thing that you see in a lot of social media, whatever, where they use a pant leg. Again, it's better than nothing. But in the picture, you'll see that what they did is they basically took a 2-liter bottle and then you start laying it. So you got your small rock, your sand, more small rock, sand, and then a charcoal later with a fabric underneath to keep everything in. Your clean water will go through everything and come out the bottom. Again, this is really not going to do anything for chemical, radiation, anything like that. But this will filter out a lot of the parasites and bacteria and the things like that. I mean, there's pros and cons to every single one that we're going to get into here. The do-it-yourself, I mean, you're going to kind of either have to have these items or scavenge. It's going to be difficult, especially on where you are, to get things like sand or something like this. Now, in a prepping thing, if this is an option that you would like to take, you can pre-buy these things. You can get a bag of small gravel. You can get a bag of sand. You can get different things and put them up as a prep. I would suggest if you do that, go ahead and make one. Test it out. So that way you know what you're doing. It's not something that you just have tucked up for the next 5-10 years. All of a sudden something happens, you don't know what to do with it. Always go through, and I will always preach, test your preps. So if this is an option you want to do, again, we'll do a deep dive into this later, but here's water filtration. All right, next one that we're going to do is boiling. Should be right here. Boiling, you're going to see on just about everything from every movie, TV show, whatnot, and rightfully so, in my opinion, and kind of um, across most prepping everything. Boiling is one of the most kind of reliable ways that you can purify water into drinking water. Again, you're going to have some container. You're either going to have to scavenge or have your own. And then you're going to basically put it over a fire. You're going to use hot rock, whatnot, to get it to a rolling boil. Once you get it to a rolling boil, that is where you're going to do sort of a timer to it. The general accepted is 5 minutes. I would always suggest to double that and go into 10 minutes. So that way it will go through and kill all the little bad guys that's going to make you have a very bad day. This is kind of in the pros section. This is kind of an easier method. You're kind of going to get the most bang for your buck, so to speak, that you can get a very large container. And as long as you can get that rolling boil, you get that amount of water. It also, because of the boiling and everything, the agitation of the water, a lot of times it'll help with cloudiness of water, kind of make it a little bit more clear. Not always the case. The cons of something like this is that if you do this alone, no pre-filtering or anything like that, you scoop and boil, you are not going to remove any minerals, solids, chemicals, radiation, metals, salt, debris, anything like that. That's kind of common sense. But, again, if you're just doing a boiling method that you scoop and boil, there is cons to this. We'll go into a final thought with all these at the end. But just as a thing for this is just a quick overview of boiling water. We'll go ahead and move on. Okay, next up on our list is going to be the distilled method. Now, as we just went through and said with the last one, distill is going to be, as it states, it's going to be way more effective of removing your bacteria, your minerals, your metals, all your solids, salt, things like that. This is a really great method. Personally, it's probably one of the safer methods. It's not going to do anything chemically. You're not going to be able to burn out chemicals. It's not going to do anything for radiation. But the con to something like this, if you choose to do the distill method, is that you're going to do a very, very slow process. As you can see in the image here, they basically took a teapot, connected a hose, made it go up, heat rises. As it goes through and cools, it drips down, collects the condensation from the steam. Therefore, you have clean drinking water. Now, again, you're either going to have these things set up, or you're going to have to scavenge for, things like this. Keep in mind that you can boil water in plastic and other things, so it doesn't always have to be metal. You would obviously want to go metal if possible, so that way you have a much more reliable, much more sustainable container in order to boil water. But this is something that anybody that lives on the coastline for salt water or anything like that, distilling is how you take and make a salt water into a fresh water and make it drinkable, because as the steam goes up, the salt does not, thus leaving salt water on the bottom, giving you fresh drinking water that comes out the other end. So this is something that you are interested in, look out for a future video. We will actually put something together and we will distill some water together. Okay, next on our list is going to be tablets or drops. Now, the tablets that they use that you can go buy, I've seen them everywhere from Walmart to Amazon or whatnot. They will have directions on them. Depending on which tablet they are, they usually have 1 to 2 year shelf life. So you have to make sure of which one you have and rotate them. They do work remarkably well. Um, you have to watch which ones. I know the iodized ones, they do leave a, for lack of a better term, funky taste. And also, you're putting a lot of iodized into it as you consume the water. I know that they have some, I don't want to say controversial, but there is some talk in the health world on like pregnant women, different side effects of having something like this. Personal opinion, the tablets are a great for kind of an average person, but I kind of steer away from them. I have them myself as a backup, you know, as a kind of a last resort if it is the only thing, because something's better than nothing. But if you switch over and use drops, which in this one we're going to talk about bleach, you need to make sure it is 100% bleach, the liquid form, not the gel, and you need to make sure it is unscented, straight bleach. Now, you also have to look at your concentrations. They do make a couple of different ones. They're pretty similar. So as long as you kind of stay in the lower drop range, you'll be, or you should be fine. You kind of want to look into it. I believe for most of it on the drops, it is 6 to 8 per gallon, and that is room temperature to warm water. The bleach, for whatever reason, when it comes to temperature, if it is a cooler water, you'd probably want to do 8 to 10 drops. You would try and find the container that you can seal. You would put your drops in, screw it on, seal it up, shake it really well, and then you would want to put it somewhere dark or at least shaded for at least an hour-ish, maybe a couple hours, to really let it do its work. It's a really great method. It does work. It's proven to work. Again, it's not going to do anything for chemical, radiation, whatnot. Again, you'd have to pre-filter. It's not going to remove anything that is like debris, dirt, things like that. This is just a reaction to get rid of and kill all the little nasty things that want to make your tummy upset. So another method, again, we'll do this in a future video and do a deeper dive into it. But just as a beginner, if you don't know anything about, you know, making safe drinking water, this is a method. All right, to round out the list is going to be right here. This is going to be the UV method. Now, the way that they have it here, it might be a little confusing. What they have is basically, and it's kind of a bad picture, a pen UV light that is shining down into a container of water. That was early on that they did the UV pen lights. I have seen things that are non-battery powered, kind of like the radios where you hand crank. Or you can do a completely free method where you would take like a plastic bottle, collect your water, you would seal it, turn it sideways. You would have to have a really good sunny day, and you would leave it for 24 hours. If it was bright but a little overcast, you'd probably want to leave it for minimum of 2 days to make sure. But this basically works where the UV is going to come through the bottle, again, killing all the little nasty, you know, bugs and parasites and stuff that's in there, and potentially make it safe. Now, I say potentially because, again, like all the other methods, using this alone without common sense, this does nothing for, you know, radiological, chemical, anything that is debris-wise or, you know, whatnot. But this is a method. This is something you're interested in, stay tuned. We'll release a video on how to make drinking water with UV. All right, so go ahead and wrap this up. This was just basically a quick overview, as I have stated throughout this. This channel is for people that are beginning into the kind of community that we have going on, the beginning prepper, so to speak. when it comes to water, everybody knows that water is a key of life. You can go 3 days without water, and really you can't even go that long. Once you get into a little over a day, you start getting bad headaches. It starts affecting you. It's your body telling you need water. If you get to that point and you don't know how to make water clean and safe to drink, then you start freaking out and you make bad choices. And that's kind of the thing in the prepping community, is to gain the knowledge now so you don't freak out, you don't get into that scenario. With all these that we went over, it's really best to use the motto of 2 is 1 and 1 is none. If at all possible, do more than just one of these at the same time. Collect your water and pre-filter it. Common sense. Get all the sticks and debris and everything out of it. That's a good start. Take your water and see if you can, chemically treat it. See if you can boil it. See if you can distill it. The more and more that you can do on each one, you're making it safer and safer to drink. Now, any of these methods, will they make it 100%? Not really. You can make it clean, and your body will be able to fight off, in the most part, a small amount of things here and there. Your big thing, though, is you just want to try and do everything you can to make the water drinkable. Because if you take the risk that, the water is clear, it looks good, and you just take a drink on something like that, you can cause anything from vomiting to diarrhea. Anything along those lines are going to make you even more dehydrated and put you in a much, much worse, state of mind. So you've got to keep in mind, this is one of the most important things as getting into prepping, is your water. You look at things in history, any sort of bad events from war, or even like Hurricane Katrina, you have displacement of people. You have a very bad event that happens and it takes out people. But usually it's the aftermath of that takes out a majority of the people. Not always, but it is one of the things in history that if you look at, it's the medical, it's the people drinking bad water, eating bad food, things like that. So this is just a way for you to become a little bit more knowledge and a little bit more prepared. And so that way you can take what you learn here and apply it for you in a future set. So again, if you see any one of these, I implore you to go out and look further into these, get more research. Don't look at what I say and just follow it blindly. Go out and do the research for yourself. And what I will do is, in future videos, we'll take each one of these that I have listed out and we'll do a whole video just on one of these each methods. So that way we can take a deeper dive, take it step by step, and I can demonstrate them for you. So keep a look on to that. But I again thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share this with somebody you love. Hit the bell for the notifications. That way you don't miss any of our future content. Check us out on Facebook, The Rural Report. And with that, guys, just remember to stay united, because we're all prepping in this together.